There's this well-known miracle of Jesus that I have heard, preached, and read many times throughout my life, but that's really come to take on special significance for me, especially in the past couple years. And it's the feeding of the 5,000. So this miracle, if you're familiar with the biblical story, is found in all four Gospels, but I like the way that Mark tells it. So as Mark tells it, the disciples have been very busy doing ministry all day long. They've been doing the things that Jesus taught them to do, healing people, teaching people, and they've come back to Jesus with these great reports of all that God's done among them, and they're tired. And so Jesus says to them, why don't you guys come with me by yourselves and we'll go somewhere where you can have something to eat and take a little bit of a break. But on their way to where they're going, the crowds recognize them and follow them. The crowds are just so hungry for Jesus, for more of his teaching, for more of his healing, and Jesus has compassion on them and begins to teach the crowds. Now, I don't know how you feel when your plans to take a break or like to take a nap or to have dinner get interrupted, but if I was the disciples, I would have been feeling a little annoyed. But anyway, Jesus is doing his thing. He's continuing to teach people. And the people stay so long that the sun begins to set and it starts to be dinner time. And now at this point in the story, the disciples' annoyance maybe has reached a breaking point, and they say, look, Jesus, like, it's getting dark, it's getting late, send these people away so they can feed themselves. And they're probably thinking, and we can feed ourselves too because we haven't had dinner yet either. And then Jesus says this really audacious thing to the disciples. He looks out at the 5,000 people and he says, you give them something to eat. Now, I don't know what they thought about that, but I can certainly relate. Do you ever feel like the thing Jesus is asking you to do is just something you absolutely do not have the resources to do? The disciples have 5 loaves and 2 fish. And, I feel that way all the time. Like, the thing Jesus is asking of me is just a thing that I can't do, that I'm not capable of doing. I don't have the resources for it. And there is no possible way that 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish are going to feed all these people. Let's talk about prayer for a minute. We are moving into our next strategic plan, our 2-year plan, reaching out, and prayer, bringing our concerns to Jesus is a central component of our plan, what we're planning to do as Highview Community Church. So let me encourage you. I don't know what kind of impossible thing you are facing right now. What kind of impossible thing you feel like God's asking you to do that you just don't have the resources for. Maybe it's a return to the classroom as a teacher or a student. Maybe it's the welcoming of a new baby into your family, as my family is facing. Maybe it's the daunting prospect of job hunting in a pandemic. Maybe it's starting a small group. Maybe it's mending a strained relationship. I don't know what impossible thing that is for you. But I would like to encourage all of us to take a page out of the disciples' books. And whatever you have, whatever not enough small resources you have, I'd love to encourage you to bring that to Jesus first. And then let him decide what happens next. Somehow the disciples scraped together the courage to bring their 5 loaves and 2 fish to Jesus. in your situation, I don't know. Maybe what happens next is exactly what you expect. Or, like the disciples, maybe not.